The rain had a peculiar way of muting the world, muffling everything except your own thoughts. It trickled down the back of Sergeant Tessa Caldwell's neck as she pushed open the diner's glass door. The place looked like a scene from another decayed neon sign, flickering above, and the thick aroma of scorched coffee lingering beneath the sharper notes of frying bacon. Her boots squelched softly on the tile floor, trailing streaks of rainwater behind her. Tessa didn't look up. She didn't need to. People always stared. The diner was nestled on the outskirts of Pinehurst, North Carolina, the kind of roadside stop you only noticed when your usual place was full, or if exhaustion made you pull over wherever you could. But Tessa wasn't here for comfort, not nostalgia. She was cold, hungry, and bone-deep tired of walking, of rain, of that hollow feeling that came from being invisible until it was convenient for someone to see you. She dropped her pack beside the corner booth, a quiet thud against the cracked vinyl. Her military-issued jacket hung on her like borrowed skin faded by the sun, too loose around the shoulders now. She pulled out a wrinkled $5 bill and flattened it on the table with a deliberate hand. One coffee. That was all she asked for. The waitress, mid-20s with tired eyes, hesitated. Her name tag read Dana, and her gaze moved from Tessa's weathered face to the boots, then to the duffel bag on the floor. "You planning to order something?" she asked, her voice more weary than suspicious. "Coffee. Cream, if you got it," Tessa replied. Dana nodded, but didn't move. Instead, she looked toward the counter where the manager, a thick-set man with dishwater blonde hair, was drying mugs with a rag that had definitely seen better days. He raised one brow. Dana walked off reluctantly. Tessa leaned back. Her spine cracked as it pressed against the booth's hard edge. The seat was sticky from condensation and her damp coat. Outside, the rain continued to pour, distorting the world into a blur of motionless grays. Then the bell over the door rang again. Two officers walked in. Officer Travis Langley and Officer Joel Kemp. Locals. Regulars. Tessa didn't recognize them, but she didn't have to. There was a way certain men carried themselves that told you everything you needed to know. They weren't wet from the rain. They were comfortable. They scanned the diner as they talked between themselves, then their eyes locked on her. Langley moved first, tall, mid-40s, thick around the middle, leaning into his belt like it was a badge of honor. He walked toward her with the deliberate pace of someone trying to assert dominance. "Ma'am," he said, "you here with someone?" "No," Tessa said without blinking. "Just waiting on a cup of coffee." Kemp chuckled from behind. "You waiting or loitering?" Langley gestured with his chin toward the duffel. "You just passing through or planning to stay a while?" "Is that a crime now?" Tessa replied, lips twitching into a faint, unreadable smile. The diner had gone quieter than it should have. A fork hovered midair. Dana looked away. No one was openly listening, but everyone was aware. Langley nudged her duffel with the toe of his boot. "You mind picking this up?" Someone could trip. Tessa's gaze dropped to the bag, then back to his face. "You're worried about safety now?" The sarcasm wasn't sharp, but it landed with weight. Langley's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Kemp stepped forward, arms crossed. "Let's not make this difficult, all right? I'm not here to cause problems," Tessa said calmly. "I came here to sit down. Maybe drink something warm. That's all. Some folks might feel uncomfortable," Kemp said, his tone cooling. "I know that line," Tessa said, her voice harder now. "I also know how it sounds when people with authority start using comfort as an excuse to sidestep decency." The tension now had teeth. It wasn't loud, but it was sharp enough to cut. The officers hadn't raised their voices, and neither had Tessa. But something was definitely building. Then one of them nudged her bag again. This time, it was a message. Tessa noticed, and so did everyone else. She didn't flinch. Instead, she leaned down, slowly picked up her bag, and placed it beside her on the booth. Then, she looked them both in the eye. "You ever serve?" she asked, voice steady. Langley squinted. "What's that got to do with anything?" "Nothing. Just helps me decide how much patience to give you." Kemp rolled his eyes. "All right, that's it. Time to go." "No law says I can't sit in a public diner and buy coffee," she replied. "You're the ones making this into something it's not." Dana appeared with a mug, her hand white-knuckled around the handle. She placed it on the table. She paid, she said quietly. I saw her. She's not causing trouble. Langley ignored her. You got somewhere else to be? He asked Tessa. I got nowhere to be, she replied. But that doesn't mean I don't belong here. Something in Langley's face shifted. His eyes narrowed. His lip curled. Tessa had seen that expression before each checkpoints in Kandahar, from men who didn't see people, only threats. He leaned forward, elbows on the table like they were sharing a secret. Let me guess you one of those who comes back thinking the country owes you? Medal in one pocket, entitlement in the other. A spoon clattered to a plate somewhere. Even Kemp looked uncomfortable. Tessa didn't blink. You know what I came back with? She said. A limp. A bronze star I keep buried in a sock. And no permanent address. I didn't ask for handouts. I asked for peace. But peace don't come easy when people like you mistake quiet for weakness. Kemp took a step back. This is going sideways. Langley didn't move. He smiled instead. You're sharp, he said. I'll give you that. But you're still leaving. Tessa slowly reached into her coat. Langley stiffened. She pulled out an old flip phone. The screen was scratched, and one corner was held together with duct tape, but it worked. Langley scoffed. You gonna call a lawyer on your burner? No, she said. Just an old friend. The diner froze. She pressed a button and brought the phone to her ear. Come. Yeah, it's me. Bailey's Diner. 2 units here. Badge numbers hold on. She looked up at the officers. You want to make this official, or should I guess the digits? Langley's mouth moved, but no sound came out. I don't know what kind of favors you still owe me, she said into the phone, but I need one cashed in. Fast. She closed the phone. No one spoke. Dana stepped back. The manager vanished into the kitchen. Langley finally found his voice. That's supposed to scare us. No, Tessa said. It's supposed to remind you that not everyone with a beat-up coat and a duffel bag is someone you can shove out the back door. Her voice hadn't wavered. Not once. And something had changed. Langley stepped back. Kemp looked around and saw that no one in the diner was pretending not to notice anymore. Tessa took a sip of her coffee. Lukewarm. It didn't matter. Kemp shifted. So who exactly did you call? You don't need to know that, Tessa said. Langley wasn't used to this kind of silence. He needed control and she wasn't giving it. You know, we got reports of loitering in this area, he said. From who? She asked. You made the call before you walked in. Saw me. Assumed I was a threat because I've got no lipstick and a tired coat. You don't know me. But I know you. His voice dropped. Watch it. No, Tessa said louder. You watch it. The man I called? I saved his life once. Ghazni province. He works in internal affairs now. You think he won't pick up the phone for me? She leaned in slightly. I spent years watching men like you talk tough overseas. But real power doesn't come from your badge. It comes from what people let you get away with. Not today. The tension was no longer invisible. Even the fry cook had stopped moving. Then the door buzzed again. A man in a gray suit walked in, phone in one hand, a badge in the other. You Langley? He asked. Langley straightened. Who's asking? Owen Riker. Wake County Internal Affairs. Outside. Now. Complete silence. Langley's eyes darted between Tessa and the badge. This is a joke. Does it look like I'm joking? Riker said. Kemp stammered. How'd you get here so fast? I was already in town. Got a call from someone I trust. Badge numbers match names I've been meaning to revisit. He pointed to the door. That wasn't a request. Langley and Kemp exchanged glances, then walked out without another word. Riker followed. Inside, time resumed. Tessa finally exhaled. Dana returned. Are you okay? I'm fine, Tessa said. Just tired. You want to warm up on that coffee? Yeah, she said. Sure. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened. Outside, Riker wasted no time. You know how this works, he said. Langley, you've been flagged twice already. Excessive force. Inappropriate conduct. Kemp, you backed him up both times. Kemp protested. I never laid a hand. You knew, Riker said, and said nothing. Inside, Tessa watched from the window. Riker continued. Captain Davies is on his way. You're suspended until further notice. Every file with your name on it is being reopened. Langley sneered. You've got no case. Riker held up his recorder. Everything this morning was recorded, including the call. Want to bet on whether it sticks? Langley fell silent. Back inside, Dana asked, was that really internal affairs? Tessa nodded. Used to be Specialist Riker. Same unit. I didn't know who you were. You weren't supposed to. That's the point. The teenager from the jukebox came over. Were they going to arrest you? They were going to try. Why? Tessa paused. Because some people get used to pushing others around. Until someone pushes back. Riker returned a moment later. They're off duty. For good if I have my way. Tessa raised an eyebrow. That easy. It's not over. But it's movement. What now? They'll face hearings. Maybe early retirement. Depends on what else we find. He looked at her seriously. You want to testify? Yeah, she said. But not for me. For the ones who didn't leave their name. And so she did. The story hit local news within the week. It wasn't the lead, but it ran long enough to matter. 2 officers. Suspended. Complaints reopened. The diner put up a new sticker. Veterans welcome here. No questions. Tessa didn't stay for the press. She moved to Greensboro. Volunteered at a center for unhoused veterans. Handed out soap. Cooked soup. Listened. Weeks later, Dana showed up with lunch. You ever think about writing it down? She asked. Writing makes it too clean. It wasn't clean. Maybe that's why people need to hear it. Tessa looked out at the yard. You know what I learned that day? What? Respect isn't for uniforms. It's for character. And then she smiled. A quiet one, but real. Just like everything that mattered.